Welcome to today's episode for Pain to Triumph. My name is Faye Rucker, and my co host is Rovonda Doty. Today, we are so honored to have a very special guest, Miss Moni Barrett, who is bravely going to share her journey with us of early suicide attempts, the pain of silence, and the power of speaking the truth. We are just so blessed and grateful, and we thank you for joining us today, Miss Moni, to shed some light on this situation.
Yes.
I'm happy to be here with you.
So, I know we're going to have a lot to talk about. So, I'm going to start by asking, of course, what I'm sure some will wonder if you could just share a bit about your story and what was going through your heart, your mind during this chapter in your life. What got you to the point of suicide? And how did your family deal with that?
Well, it was after being diagnosed with MS, multiple sclerosis, and having been in a wheelchair for a year, having been blind for a year at the young age in the early 20s. I was married. I had two young children, and I was working corporate America in school, college, and then being hit with those
Mm.
things. Because I was in, life was life, all the good things were happening to me. And then you're hit with that. And it just kind of drove me down, depression. And I didn't know what to do. And so what happened from there was I was on a medication also that then caused some hallucinations
Mm.
and ended up taking 90 pills. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, 90 pills. And I ended up calling, I don't even remember how I got the phone number at this point, ended up calling the MS Society. And they end up reaching out to my husband at that time and 911 rescue and end up saving my life. And I end up doing a huge campaign for them.
Wow. Wow. So let me
And
let me just ask you this. Okay, I know you said a lot in that piece.
I
Let's
did.
dig into that a little bit because you mentioned you were diagnosed with MS and then you couldn't walk for a year and then you lost your sight. Like, walk me through that. How did that come to be and how long was it in between your diagnosis and when those things happened?
There was significant amount of time with me not being able to walk. Literally, I went to bed one night and just woke up and didn't have the use of my legs. And there was no precursor to it at all. There was no, oh, I'm starting to feel this way or that way. There was none of that. And then after a year, it just came back. I had some physical therapy and different things, and there was no explanation. It was just, and this is immense. This is kind of what happens. There was no magic pill to give me or any of those different types of things. This is just MS, the myelin kind of healed itself and I was able to walk again.
Hmm.
I went to my son's T-ball game, and by the end of the game, I was blind. Having those type of unexpected things happen to you changes your view on life.
Right.
It becomes very scary for you. And so when I say depression sunk in, that really hit me hard as a young person. I started to feel that I was a burden. No one told me I was a burden. My husband didn't tell me that. My children didn't tell me that. I started to feel that I was no longer a good mother. My children never told me that. I was a great mother. I'm still a great mother. They're in their 30s now, but I'm still a great mother. But I started to feel that. And that in itself is one of the things that when you have depression, when you become suicidal, your perception is off greatly. And that's something that anyone who has become suicidal, if they're honest with you, they'll tell you their perception is
Yeah.
off.
Sure.
Because, like I said, I'm a great mother. I was a great mother then, but you couldn't tell me that I wasn't a great mother, that I wasn't in their way, that I wasn't going to be in their way. I was convinced that they'd be better off without me.
Wow. Now
that's a powerful reality to sit with where, you're just realizing, okay, my perception was off. So let me ask,
Yeah.
you pulled up a poster. Pull that up again,
Yes.
and those are your boys, right? Okay. So you became a national spokesperson for the MS Society, correct?
Yes, that's correct. Afterwards, I had never dealt with the MS Society before, but once I came out the hospital and got myself together, I reached out to them and they had me come in and I started working with them and they said, "Hey, would you be open to telling your story for other people and helping out other people?" And I'm like, "You know what? Yeah, I will," because one of the other things is that my family went and after another suicidal attempt, my family was telling my children that I was in the room asleep.
Mm.
They weren't telling them that I was in the hospital getting help.
Wow.
They were doing what they thought was best
Mm.
for them because they didn't know how to communicate the truth to them. They didn't know the right conversation, the right words to communicate to them that mommy's sick, that mommy had a suicide attempt, and mommy's in the mental hospital. They didn't know how to communicate
Okay.
that.
A and
Look at their faces. Look at those smiling faces
some
right
beautiful
there.
face.
Look at that. But that's after them
Yeah.
learning.
So how did you eventually have that conversation with your boys about the struggles you were having?
That was with the help of the MS Society because they had literature and they taught me how to talk to them. you know, and that's being very honest. I had help with that, to learn how the right words and in a child's way. They didn't need to know all of the particulars of what happened. You teach them at the level that they're at about what was going on with me and answering their questions and everything. So not to scare
Yes.
them completely, but to ask them questions and let them ask you questions and so that they felt comfortable and safe and everything. And so that's how I dealt with them. I let them ask me questions and answer their questions so that they felt safe and comfortable and well informed.
That's good. Okay. Well, let me ask you, was there a specific moment, like a pivotal moment that helped you find your way out of those suicidal thoughts, out of that dark place?
Well, each one was different. Each one was different. It wasn't the same thing that made me feel like I needed to do what I did.
Mm.
So each time back required something different. Once I learned how to have a safety plan, the safety plan for coming back was different.
Okay.
And that's something that's so important for you to have a safety plan. And your safety plan has different tools in it. It needs multiple things in it because of what worked one time may not work the
Mm,
next time.
okay. So when you say safety plan, can you explain that to somebody who may need to put together a safety plan? What does that look like?
Well, it's going to look different for each person, for one.
Mhm.
But it will have some similarities with having, of course, the number two, you know, it may have family members' numbers in it. It's definitely going to have the number two, like the 988 number in there, where it's 988 now instead of just calling 911 alone. It'll have the 988 suicide line in there. It may have in there that, oh, you like watching cartoons, you like funny things, you like to laugh. It may have that in there that I'm going to go watch some cartoons. It may have in there that, oh, I like to go to comedy shows. That may be something that you do. It may have in there that exercising. It may have in there going to play basketball. It may have in there going to run. It may have, we're here on the West Coast, going outside and getting some natural vitamin D. It may have in there to take vitamin D internally. It has different things in there for different people at different levels. When you start noticing different things, it may be that, oh, you start shaking. Oh, I need to take my vitamin D. So different signs at different levels may show you different things for your safety
Mhm.
plan.
Okay. That makes sense.
So that's why I say Yeah, so it's all different for different people. Certain things that you catch at certain points,
Okay. Well, that's
you
good
know.
to know. What role do you believe that therapy or friends or even your your spiritual beliefs, faith, what role do you believe each of those played in your recovery?
They were vital. They were vital. For me, I'm spiritual, very spiritual. And like moving here to the West Coast was very key for me. Like I mentioned, that
Yeah.
sunshine,
Mm.
man, I needed that sunshine in my life coming
Yeah.
from the Midwest. I needed all of this sunshine that we have out here. It just wraps around me like a warm blanket, something that my family noticed because we always traveled to the Caribbean all the time. And they were like, every time we traveled there, I would throw my cane away. And they were like, "What are you faking?" They're like, "You don't have this, you don't have that." I'm like, "I just
Yeah.
feel better." Like my whole disposition would change every time we would get there and I'd be in that heat. And they're like, that's just weird. And so when I got here to visit, like it just totally changed. And when I went back home, it
Yeah.
totally changed. And so I said, scrap it. I'm moving there. I'm moving there. And so it definitely helps me to be in this sunshine and with this heat. This heat does me justice. It does me justice. So that helped tremendously. The therapy, whatever type of therapy you want to call your therapy, will help you. So you work that out when you're doing your safety plan and all those different types of things. Again, it's so individualized. So, don't let my plan and my therapy be your concrete therapy. Mine is gonna look like
For
what it
you.
needs to look
Yes.
like for me.
Mhm.
Let your box be your box.
Yeah, so I noticed that you had the discussion with your children. You started working on this campaign to share your story about what you went through with the world. How has sharing your story, sharing your truth about your journey, how has that helped you?
That's part of my therapy.
Okay.
That is part of my therapy. It truly is because it's not my dirty little secret.
Mhm.
It's not my dirty little secret. Nobody can hold it over my head. Nobody can point their finger and laugh. Nobody can do any of those things to me. Like it's out there. I'm not ashamed of it. Nobody can hold it over my children's head. Nobody can hold it over anybody's head. It's helped my children to know that they don't have to be ashamed of it. It's helped because I have one of my children who's had to go through it personally. And so they were able to deal with it and not be ashamed of it in their life. They knew how to deal with it themselves. And so that has helped them also know that they don't have to be ashamed of it. I've had other people in their personal lives come to me and say, "Hey, I need help." And because I've been open, they had someplace to go and come to. And I'm free, "Hey, I'll help you." I've walked people into mental ward.
Mm.
And it's because they say, "Hey, you did it. I can do it." You sure can, darling. You sure can.
That's a powerful message of a hope that I believe you're continuing to champion. So, what do you think is the primary thing that you like to share with your kids, friends, people that are going through some level of depression or, adverse effects of medication? Because you said that the medication started having
Mhm.
you hallucinating. What is it that you believe
But
your main thing that you try to tell them to focus on?
to hold
Okay.
on, hold on, just hold on, and that there still is hope. There's still hope. I know it feels like it's over, but it's not. Just hold on, hold on. Reach out to whatever or whomever you feel like you need to because there's still
Mm.
hope. And if nobody else understands, you need to listen to somebody who does.
Abs
There's still hope.
Mhm. That's
Yeah.
powerful. So, this has been very enlightening to hear your journey, how it kinda started with your diagnosis and some of the just traumatic, unexpected things physically that happened to you. I'm sure people listening or watching can clearly understand how devastating that must have been to you to have to go through those experiences. When you were going through them, I know there were so many things going through your mind about not wanting to be here, being a burden, and things like that. What do you wish you could tell that version of yourself that felt like suicide was the only option?
The same thing that I just told those people, it's still hope. To hold on. It's gonna be all right. Just hold on.
Yeah. Why do you think you're emphasizing the hold on? Is there a point where you believe the person does want to lose grip with life or they're losing
Absolutely.
grip with reality?
Because you're tired.
Okay. Mm.
You're so tired. And you believe that this rest, this sleep that you want is gonna be somewhat temporary, and it's not.
Wow.
Well,
It's not. So just hold on. Just hold on.
This is just so profound. So when you took the 90 pills, I just kind of want to backtrack and revisit that. When you took the 90 pills, is that what you feel like you were feeling most, that you just wanted rest? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just making the correlation
Yeah.
for someone that is struggling with that fight, that battle, right? And you said something else that was profound is like the lie. Like we're holding on to hope because somewhere down the line we're believing something that's not true.
mhm.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, it was so much that you said that I had never heard before that hit a little different because
Mhm.
having a family member personally who did commit suicide at a very young age, who just left this world way too soon, it just made me visualize his face just popped up and it made me visualize, wow, like, man, how must he have felt and how tired was he to take his own life? So your description was powerful of how you felt going through that moment, and I'm sure there are others that can understand, that can really probably are listening to us right now saying they felt the same way. So what I want to ask is, you've given us a glimpse into your mindset and what you were feeling, but what does life and purpose feel like for you today? Right? Like, give me the joy factor coming out on the other side, being this speaker for the MS Society, helping other people's overcome this. What does that look like for you today?
Man, it's so much joy in that that is overwhelming.
Mm.
It's overwhelming joy. And that's why I say being able to know both sides. And then when I say I ain't got the line to kick it, I understand. And I hope anybody out there that if you right there at that point that you can look at me and you know I ain't got the line to kick it. Like I'm with you and I understand. Like, okay, you know, come on back. Come on back. This your girl right here. We on the same squad. And if you're given like whatever the pressures are, it's
Mhm.
okay. Like it's okay. It may not take care of the problems that are out there, but you're so much bigger and worth more than the problems.
Yes.
No matter what you've done wrong, no matter what somebody else has done wrong to you, you're worth more.
Amen to that.
And knowing that value is so important. So like if you reflect back on your last and final attempt, because at some point there were no more attempts, right? You came to some resolve. So what encouragement would you give our listeners on holding on from that very last attempt and you getting kind of that breakthrough? do you believe resonated most with you and that would resonate most with the listeners?
There's more life to live. Yeah, there's more life to live. Like whatever it is that you loved, and I have to say loved, because right now it feels like it's nothing. Whatever it is that you love, there's some more of it out there for you to create,
Wow.
and you're going to create it.
I love
That's
that.
beautiful. Yeah.
That's
Yeah, it
real.
is.
I just want to say thank you so much for sharing your story and your heart with us today. Your courage to walk this path, help others, shed light for others is just truly inspiring.
Yes.
Your transparency, your nakedness to the world hopefully will clothe somebody else. So, to everyone listening, if you're under the sound of my voice, I want you to remember no matter how dark it feels, there is always a path forward. There is always a way you can get back to the light, and you're never alone. As Moni mentioned, you can call the 988 number, you can go to the MS Society or suicide prevention, like whatever your story
Yeah.
is, there's help out there for you. So,
Can I give them something else right quick?
absolutely.
If you are someone who is caring for, if you're a parent of someone who has attempted suicide or you think is suicidal, you can use that 988. If you are someone who is online and you think someone is suicidal, you can use that 988 number. If you are an employer of someone, you can use that 988 number. You can also go to 988lifeline.org. All of that is 24/7. Okay. I wanted to also put
Yeah.
that out there to make
Mhm.
sure you have all the resources around that 988 number. Thank
Absolutely.
you.
Oh,
Absolutely.
that's wonderful. I think your messaging to stay connected, stay hopeful, and always,
Mhm.
know that there's help. You know.
Right,
Yes.
because your life matters. Someone loves you. You may not think they do, but they do.
Yeah.
You matter. Your story matters, and brighter days can come. I know you may want that wrist, but please don't do it that way, right? Stay connected, stay hopeful. And as always, we thank you for being a part of this conversation.
Yes.
We pray that you will use those numbers and those resources that Moni just shared. And if you need assistance and want to reach out to Moni, please go to our website
Yeah.
at paintotriumph.com and put your information in the contact us section and put the note that you would like to reach out to her. We'd be more than happy to connect you with her because, like I said, you're not alone. There's help on the other side. Again, go to paintotriumph.com and leave your contact information, and we will make sure to get that information over to Moni if you need assistance or would just like to connect to see how she does her work out in this world with the MS Society. So we thank you for joining us. We hope you're blessed. And thank you, ladies, for a wonderful conversation today.
All right.